Hello, my name is Alice Trindle and welcome to another tip for the ride. Today we're working on a drill that I call the no smoking sign. Of all the things that I might present to you, this is one of the most difficult because it requires so much multitasking. Being able to separate what your hand is doing from what your feet are doing and what the horse is doing out there on the end of the lead. In essence, what I'm going to do is ask Allegra to go around me sideways on a circle here and to read my body's intention, to separate what my body is saying, what my mind is saying, from what this flag is saying. Now, how about that be helpful? Well, I once had a fella tell me the best place to start a colt would be in the middle of a circus. And that's kind of the idea here. If the whole world is coming apart around me, I'd like my horse to stay with what my intentions are rather than taking off and taking control. So let's get started here. The first essential that you're going to need is a nice flag. Doesn't have to be this fancy. You could easily attach a plastic bag to an end of your dressage whip. This particular one's made by Lucky Penny Flags, and I really enjoy it because it's a little bit lighter than using like a carrot stick or something like that. I'll need a horseman's halter with a 12-foot or 11 to 12-foot lead on it, and definitely recommend that you use actually one of these horseman halters. And we, of course, use the ones made for us by Nancy's Leather right here in La Grande, Oregon. My picture in my mind's eye is going to be this. I need to really separate my body parts. I'm going to kind of put a very slow waltz or slow song here into my feet. I usually use that song, let's see, Anne Murray, Could I Have This Dance, for the rest of my life. Very slow, rhythmic, flowing. I put a rhythm in my flag that could start to be slow, and then it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Pretty soon the flag's going 90 miles an hour, but my feet are still dancing slowly with Anne Murray. The idea of the smoking sign really has to do with my positioning. I see a big circle drawn here on Allegra's side that runs all around from her feet, back up here to her ears, and back down to her feet. I'm going to draw a big hash sign right across that, a slash, running from her eyes down to her foot, from her foot back up to her eyes. Another way of looking at it might be that she's a fence, and I want to draw a no smoking sign on her side with my big brush here. So let's get started. As with everything, what I do here on the ground should relate to what I'm doing up in the saddle. I will start with a very slow movement in my feet and a slow movement in the flag. And be aware of what is the right time to quit, just as she moves nice and soft sideways away from me. Horseman's protocol, take my deep breath, see that picture in my mind's eye, set this up for her. And eye to foot, eye to foot, eye to foot, eye to foot, quit. Now here's a trick I learned a few years ago in helping my horses to learn how to ground tie. As soon as I quit, I'm going to deaden all of that energy in this rope right down into the ground, so that pretty soon she starts looking for the release and the non-movement in her feet with herself ground tied. As far as she's concerned, she's attached to that ground right now. I try to let the work be, the rest be longer than the work, so that she'll look forward to this rest time right here, ground tied. There may come a day that we're out branding or roping, or I need to work on something and I need to just leave her tied right here to the ground, so this is a great thing to teach your horse. I'll keep Anne Murray now in my feet, but I'm going to increase the speed of my flag, of drawing that no smoking sign on the side of her body here. Eye to foot, 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 quit. As soon as I quit, I'll go ahead and deaden that energy in the lead rope down into the ground. And relax. and let her know she did a good job. Now this might not look just exactly like this when you first get started on it. You may have to kind of stay at that really slow speed for quite a while until you see even an inkling of them thinking about going sideways softly and then quit. And the next time you bring up the volume or the speed on that flag, it's very small. With this horse, it's been quite a few months since I've played this drill, but you know they don't forget it. And she's kind of showing us that these horses have just an amazing mind of what they will remember. Particularly with Allegra, because she tends to be kind of a big scaredy cat anyway. Let's try it again. Let's see, last time the rhythm of my flag was eye to foot, 1, 2, 1, 2. I need to make it a little faster this time. Eye to foot, 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 eye to foot. Nice. Did you also notice there that there was no tension in the lead rope line? That's ideally what I want to see. My feet were just barely moving around, so her feet just stayed nice and soft, no pulling away on that line whatsoever. Again, when you first start it, it might not look exactly like that. When that happens, you need to readjust your positioning. You may be a little bit too far back. You might have to come up a little more in front of the horse in order to get that nice soft line that you're looking for. Well, let's do it one more time here. Let's see, last time was eye to foot, eye to foot, eye to foot, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I need to go a little bit faster. See it in my mind's eye, take a deep breath. Let her know I'm coming. Eye to foot, 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 eye to foot. Excellent. And quit. Now you might be asking yourself, what is the purpose of this? Well, it is not, in my mind, to desensitize this horse in any way. I have no desire to desensitize my horse. I want to sensitize them to my intentions. I want them to read my body language. I want them to read what's going on in my mind. I want them to search out the partnership with me. I have no intention at all in trying to make her dead and dull and numb to this flag. If my body says, hey, move away from that flag really fastly, I want her to do that. If my body says the flag doesn't mean anything at all, stand there, I'd like her to do that. The main purpose of this drill is to establish that leadership from you, where you clearly give them the intention and the clear picture, and they follow through with it. That'll be marvelous when we're up there and the wind comes up and the tarp comes off, and all of a sudden I say, it's no big deal. Stay with me. I'd much rather have my horse reading that than just being dead and dull to numb and saying, oh, well, it's a flag, it's nothing to be bothered about, and it really was something that we needed to move away from. I think that she's done really well on this side. If I were to do anything now, I'd probably go ahead and try it on the other side, but only because I've done it with this horse before. Most of the time, for most of you, if you're just introducing this, let it rest at this spot. Let them soak on this for a day or two, and then come back and introduce the same thing at the same kind of a method on side 2. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this little tip for the ride. It's something that's really paid off big time for me to get my horses to connect with me. I think that if I can get them on the end of the line, if I can think of them, and then think for them here, a clear picture and saying, let's move sideways away with a nice flow, then we'll go together with each other, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'll love that when I get up on board and I ask her to go a little bit sideways on a circle too. Thanks again. Hope to see you here again. Come visit us in Haines, Oregon too. Thanks.